What's up everybody, this is Ambro with AMBG, and today we are going to be talking about Back 4 Blood. Back 4 Blood is the spiritual successor to the Left 4 Dead franchise. It is coming out on October 12th, 2021 for the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series consoles, and the PC on Steam and the Epic Game Store for retail price of $59.99 US. Remember, if you liked the video, to give it a thumbs up, and if you enjoy the content and want to support the channel further, consider subscribing. It would really help out and I'd greatly appreciate it. Let's just start with a brief overview of what Back 4 Blood is for the uninitiated, and then we'll get down into the details about what the developer Turtle Rock Studios has done to innovate on the established gameplay and mechanics of the Left 4 Dead franchise. Also, there's not yet been explicit confirmation from the devs that the game will be cross-platform, although a report from a member in their Discord says that they've confirmed it, but personally, until I hear official confirmation, I'm going to assume that it's not crossplay. Turtle Rock Studios was actually formerly known as Valve South, and they were the team that worked on the original Left 4 Dead. It's going to be difficult to do a video like this without directly comparing it to those older titles. So for those who have not played Left 4 Dead as a franchise, I'm going to do my best to explain it to you. Another game that is of a close comparison to this type of zombie game is World War Z, which is a fantastic game, and we'll reference that at least once in this video. Back 4 Blood, in its simplest description, is a first-person, 4-player co-op zombie shooter. You and 3 other friends, or AI-controlled NPCs, must make your way through the game's levels or campaigns, suffering as few casualties as possible and as quickly as you can. It's really as simple as that. You can play the game solo, but it is definitely a better experience with some friends. It is primarily a PvE game, but there is a dedicated PvP mode that we'll get to in a bit. You play as the cleaners, and you are trying to take out the ridden, or the infected, the zombies, whatever you want to call them. Now, the gameplay can be described as just get from point A to point B without dying, but it wouldn't be as exciting if it was something as simple as that. What makes Back 4 Blood so exciting is that Turtle Rock has brought back the smart AI, or what they are calling the game director. They had a similar system to this in their Left 4 Dead games, where there is a smart AI that is constantly monitoring and tracking your squad's status, from health and ammo to how quickly you're progressing and other metrics, and the AI will dynamically adjust certain elements of the game to try and slow you down or help you out. The game director will influence quantity and frequency of gun drops, ammo boxes, and health items, again based on the choices that you're making on that particular playthrough. The game director will also decide when to throw special infected at you. We'll go over some of the special infected in a bit, but the special infected are usually stronger or have some sort of gimmick to them that makes you and your squad have to deal with them with a sense of urgency that a standard zombie just won't. The game director ensures that no 2 playthroughs are the same. Health also does not replenish in Back 4 Blood, and health items are limited already, and not a guarantee that you'll find them on any given playthrough, again dictated by that game director. Communication is key, as well as sharing resources. The resource management, general chaos, and dynamic elements are the main draws of the gameplay. While there are set pieces unique to each campaign, like for example setting off a fire alarm in order to get through a door, it's the minute-to-minute gameplay and feeling of uncertainty that I think appeals to so many gamers around the world. Another thing that Valve was able to pull off back in the day with Left 4 Dead was making the characters feel alive. Despite the fact that this is not a story-driven game, the constant banter and camaraderie between your characters that you're role-playing gave the game so much charm. Hell, I've heard Ellis's crazy stories more times than I can count.
I ever tell you about the time Keith and I made fireworks? Now, I didn't know shit about chemistry, but Keith figured gasoline burns, doesn't it? 3rd-degree burns on 95% of his body. Man, people in the next city over were called to complain about the smell of burning skin. I ever tell you about the time Keith tried to deep-fry turkey?
Ellis, sweetie, can this wait?
I'm not gonna lie, Ellis sounds like a pretty fun guy to hang out with. Speaking of characters, let's start to dive into the nitty-gritty and go over what Turtle Rock has done to innovate on the already great gameplay loop of Left 4 Dead. For a point of reference, in Left 4 Dead, all of the characters were exactly the same in terms of utility and abilities. It didn't matter who you chose, they all had the same reload speed, the same hitbox, the same running speed, etc. The developers have now added in character-specific elements. For example, one of the characters is a doctor and they offer low health healing bonuses, while another character has an inherent ability to replenish stamina upon each kill. This element will now make you consider which character to choose from before diving into each campaign. There are 8 cleaners to choose from so far that we know of. Another thing that has been added is the roguelike element with the cards system. You have decks of cards for each cleaner. You start with a standard set of cards and earn more as you play. The cards act as temporary buffs and bonuses that you choose for each playthrough. One of the cards may give you unlimited ammo in your secondary weapon, while another card may give you boosted damage on your melee attacks, or perhaps boosted damage for explosives and throwables, and everything in between. You are dealt cards from your deck at the beginning of a campaign, and you can communicate with your squad what the best loadout is for your team composition. If you want to build your deck to be a medic/healer for that playthrough, you can do that. If you want to kit your cleaner to be all offense and no fucks given, you can do that too. This just adds another dynamic element into the game that should lead to building that team chemistry that is so vital to surviving a campaign. You will earn more cards as you play, and it gives you incentive to keep playing so that you can put together the best loadout possible. Should this card system not be for you, you can use pre-made decks, but to be honest, I think you will more than likely benefit from using custom decks, but that's just my opinion. However, cards are not exclusive to just the cleaners. There are also cards dealt by the game director for the ridden or for the zombies called corruption cards. Corruption cards can modify environmental conditions, set challenges such as having a time limit to reach a location, as well as throw the special infected at you. The cards are definitely one of the defining features of the game, and I'm excited to see how much it can actually affect the gameplay. Speaking of gameplay, let's talk a bit about it. As mentioned at the beginning of the video, the premise is actually quite simple. You start at point A and you have to get to point B. But with all the dynamic elements that we've just discussed, each playthrough is different from the last. You may end up dealing with special zombies that you didn't have to deal with on the last playthrough. Perhaps one of your squad mates goes rogue and you are down a man early. You just never really know what's going to happen. That much has not changed since the days of Left 4 Dead, but there are a few things that have. If you've seen any of the gameplay from the closed alpha that's come out, you've probably noticed now that you can aim down sights on your weapons. This may seem silly to bring up, but the original Left 4 games did not offer this feature except for sniper rifles, so take that for what you will. You are now also able to sprint, which is really nice, but this segues into arguably the most controversial change to gameplay, and that is the addition of a stamina bar. From everything that I've read so far in comments and forums and on some of the YouTube videos itself, it appears to be a bit of a controversial change. In Left 4 Dead, you did not have stamina. You had 3 different levels of mobility tied to the amount of health your character had. If you were 50 to 100 HP, you ran at full speed. If you were anywhere from 20 to 50 HP, you were even slower, and if you were under 20 HP, you were hobbling around like you were on half a leg and you basically couldn't move. While it's unsure if they kept this mobility tied to your health mechanic in, stamina was never a worry in Left 4 Dead, especially when it came to melee weapons. Going full melee in Left 4 Dead was an entirely viable option, as it is here in Back 4 Blood, but I'm curious to see if the addition of a stamina bar is going to lead to some unbalanced builds with certain cleaners. In the previews that we've seen so far, there are certain cleaners who are more built for stamina builds than others. Stamina is depleted by sprinting or by melee itself. This is definitely the mechanic I'm most interested to see if they keep in the game or if they adjust it, as I don't want the stamina feature to deter players from going down a certain build. Or perhaps that's the point. We're gonna have to wait and see. One last thing regarding changes to gameplay are the special zombies. The new special infected that we're seeing all look insanely cool, by the way. You see the ones that are clearly pulled straight out of Left 4 Dead, like the Wretch, that spews a bile on you that attracts hordes. This is clearly a variant of the Boomer from Left 4 Dead. There's also a Breaker, which looks a lot like a tank, and then there's the Snitcher, which kind of looks like a siren that calls the horde to it until you kill it, and the Hag, which just looks straight up terrifying as it eats you whole. There are more of these special ridden that they haven't yet revealed, but of the ones that they have revealed is the Ogre. The Ogre looks like a big step up from the tank from Left 4 Dead. The tank was honestly one of the most fun and terrifying elements of the original Left 4 Dead games. I can't tell you how many times me and my friends were on the final stage of a campaign, we're so close, we're all barely hanging on to our health, our ammo's running low, and you start to hear that music, and your heart just drops straight out of your ass. It was some of the best times I've ever had gaming, but moving on. The Ogre is quite literally big, and that's because this thing is colossal in size and takes a small army to take down. The interesting thing that we've seen so far from the ogre is that it can appear at random parts of the level, which again is dictated by that smart AI, but another interesting thing that we've seen about it is the addition of a health bar. This is something that we've not seen in a Left 4 Dead game before. You always had to guess how much health the tank had, you always had a good idea, but you never knew for sure. On top of the ogre having a health bar is the fact that it appears that it can leave the battle and appear later on in the campaign, and I think this is a really cool addition to the game, as it adds to that feeling of uncertainty. As you and your squad mates strategize on how to progress to the next section, you'll always have to consider having enough resources to take the ogre down. So all in all, ogre's very cool, can't wait to fight it. Oh yeah, one more thing before we move on is the game does have a PvP element to the game. Again, similar to what Left 4 Dead had. 4 players play as the cleaners, 4 players play as the random special infected. The PvP in Left 4 Dead is some of the most fun, chaotic, enjoyable experiences I've honestly ever had gaming with my friends. If you've never tried it, Left 4 Dead 2 still has a fairly active community, and you can still find games to this day. At least on PC, I'm not sure how the console community is. A final small gameplay element that I want to mention is the addition of copper and in-game currency. Again, as you watch some of the various gameplay videos that are out there, you will see that players are picking up copper as they play, and then there's also a vendor in the game that you can access in between levels of a campaign. You can buy ammo, you can buy throwables, you can buy all different sorts of things from these vendors. One thing that I think that you're also going to see is a comparison to something like in World War Z with the roguelike element. You can buy more cards, you can upgrade the cards that you have, you can upgrade attachments and abilities to your characters. So while each playthrough you might start completely bare bones, so next time you pick up the same rifle that you used last time, it might carry over those upgrades that you had purchased with the in-game currency. This does lead to my one and only concern for the game so far, and that is the possible inclusion of microtransactions. Now, there has not been anything confirmed as of yet, but they've already started advertising for in-game skins that can be purchased. However, they've already referenced that in-game currency can be used to buy the skins, so that gives me a little bit of relief, but it's not quite there yet. Microtransactions have plagued the gaming industry. I really hope they do the right thing here and they don't make this a pay-to-win game. Knowing Valve's track record with stuff like this, I think they're going to do the right thing, but we're gonna have to wait and see. Anyway, that does it for this video. We've covered a lot, but I am so excited for this game. I still play Left 4 Dead 2 to this day, and I've been waiting for Left 4 Dead 3, but we know how much Valve hates the number 3. Anyway, if you like this video, remember to give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more content like this and you want to support the channel further, hit that subscribe button. It would really help out, and I greatly appreciate it. I'd love to hear what you guys think about this game. Is it on your radar, or are you as sick of zombie games as I am? Let's talk down in the comments, and follow me on Twitter as well, and we can talk there. I'll leave a link to my Twitter in the description down below. I'll catch you next time.